Well, residents in Utah turned their neighborhood into Barbie land. People decorated their houses with pink lights and Barbie decor. The idea came from a 10-year-old in the neighborhood who wanted to dress up the houses like people dress up. Houses are dressed up with pink bows, stilettos, and flamingos. People are even joining in on the fun, with residents dressing up as Barbies and Kens.
Yeah, I definitely think Barbie and Ken's going to be a popular Halloween costume this year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like such a fun neighborhood.
They look like they're having a good time.
It's also really easy to dress up as Barbie because you could dress up as anything and call yourself a Barbie.
Yeah. A Centralia woman is dead and another injured after a crash in Boone County. Officials say the victim was 18-year-old Kara Teal. It happened on Missouri Highway 124 north of Columbia. Paramedics took the driver, an 18-year-old woman from Sturgeon, to University Hospital. The driver of the other vehicle was not hurt. If you shop at Target, you may have to get used to some changes. The company announced it's restricting the self-checkout lines to 10 items or less. And if shoppers have more than 10 items, they'll need to use the full service lanes with cashiers. It's supposed to shorten wait times and help better understand shoppers' preferences. Good morning, Mid-Missouri, and happy Sunday. Thanks for waking up with us on KMU8 News Today. I'm Leah Rainwater. Thank you for joining us. And Patrick, despite the weather being pretty cold, aren't we supposed to warm up a bit today? A Columbia man is in jail after a deadly house fire early Friday morning. Stephen Martin Strumpf now faces requested charges of first-degree murder and second-degree arson, among other charges. The fire happened yesterday on Deerfoot Way in southwest Columbia. This is a neighbor's picture of the fire. The Columbia Fire Department says it found a body inside the home Friday evening. Firefighters also found accelerants near the body, which they believed helped the fire spread. Investigators haven't released any information about the victim, and one neighbor says he saw the fire just after midnight as he went to go get some food.
When I got to the window, the raging part of the fire had already gone down, but you could see flames licking through the hole in the roof and then also kind of through the windows.
Strumpf is being held in the Boone County Jail and is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. Global protests are continuing as the war between Israel and Hamas carries on. Thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to speak out against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government. While in Barcelona, residents filled the streets to demand a ceasefire. They waved Palestinian flags and chanted "Free Palestine" to show their support. Thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to speak out against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government. This comes after Netanyahu made public comments rejecting the idea of Palestinian statehood. His comments add to the growing tensions between Washington and Jerusalem. In a phone call with U.S. President Biden, Netanyahu reiterated his stance, saying Israel must retain control over Gaza once the war ends.
The Prime Minister of Israel should have the ability to say no, even to our greatest friends, when he has to.
Fears of an escalating conflict in the Middle East are growing amid Israel's war in Gaza. An Israeli missile strike in Syria killed 5. According to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the strike killed Iranian military advisors and members of Syrian forces. Also, U.S. forces struck and destroyed a Houthi anti-ship missile south of Yemen. Military officials say the missiles threatened merchant and U.S. Navy ships in the area. U.S. personnel weren't immune from the growing conflict. A rocket attack on Ain Air Base in western Iraq injured U.S. personnel. It is not clear how many were injured or what their condition is. Thanks, Matt. Continuing on with that weather, Amtrak has actually canceled train services between St. Louis and Kansas City tomorrow due to the expected winter weather. The company is not offering any travel alternatives for safety reasons. Now, while Missouri River Runner service may be stopped, Amtrak says service between St. Louis and Chicago will operate as scheduled. Winter weather is also disrupting flights across the country. According to the website FlightAware, more than 630 flights have been canceled so far. Columbia Regional Airport has not canceled any flights yet, but make sure to check your flight status before heading to the airport. Passengers across the country are dealing with a wave of cancellations after Alaska Airlines grounded its fleet of Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft. And now we're learning United Airlines will do the same. It comes after an Alaska Airlines jet made an emergency landing in Oregon on Friday. You can see here the aftermath after a panel on the fuselage of the plane flew off just after takeoff. A number of passengers suffered injuries during the incident but are recovering. Alaska says it canceled canceled at least 160 flights yesterday and expects disruptions in air travel will likely last through next week. One passenger on the Alaska flight out of Portland was able to make it to the flight's original destination.